tell you when's the last time I got so serious about something like this Slapshot remake discussion. And we've had some really good ones coming in here. Jeff in Winnipeg, Camilla says the Baldwin brothers for the Hansons. Wayne in Victoria agrees with my Zach Galifianakis as Denis Lemieux. Denis Lemieux, continuons sa saison. Who would be Dickie Dunn? I feel like Elliot Friedman should play Dickie Dunn. But I think that Billy Bob Thornton is a slam dunk as Reg Dunlop, because this is a very, very important role. This would be the role that might define Billy Bob Thornton's career.
It's the role.
It's the role. And I will go along with Billy Bob Thornton as Reg Dunlop. That's how big of a fan I am of his and of Reg Dunlop's, and nobody has come close to anybody else.
Somebody mentioned Steve Carell. Steve Carell maybe as Jim Carr.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
He could be Jim Carr. That works for me.
No. The guy whose idea this was in the first place, Robin Wildy, he's watching in PA. He says Liam Neeson as Joe McGrath. Liam Neeson's way too cool to play Joe McGrath. Way too cool.
Somebody mentioned
John in Winnipeg. John Ohm. Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
As Joe McGrath.
Yeah. Slam dunk.
Perfect.
Oh, how about that? Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show. Now,
you all didn't know the old me, that for 40 years, Darren, I was a kamikaze. The fact that I'm alive is a miracle.
How about that?
I've ridden steers, jumped off cliffs, been shot and been shot at, and I survived it all.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, we're on. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show on a brand new week. A very big day. Very big day. And in moments, you're going to hear why. If you notice, I've changed things up a little bit. The look of the line A here, I'm a little more comfortable with the way that it is. A big news day. I'm in the Florida studio, as you can see. Darren Moose Dupont is in the Toronto studio. He's back home in Toronto, and we're ready to talk some sports today. Very big day. Moose, are you going to put a Leafs thing up on your wall anywhere, or are you waiting for them to give you something for free? Hence why you have a Dallas Stars flag up on the wall.
That's it. I don't have anything to put up on the wall that's Toronto Maple Leafs, despite them being my team. And when I was down in Dallas coming back from the Thousands show on the layover, they gave me the flag. So how can I not wear that? But I got a little blue on, so that counts.
Gotcha. It's a big day there in Toronto, and we're going to get to that in a moment. That's all I'm going to say before we jump into the quick six. I'll tell you the guests today are Benton on the mic. Mike Benton, host of Seattle Kraken Radio. Out there in the Emerald City in Seattle. He's in hour one, and in hour two, Canada's foremost NFL expert, the great Jim Lang. Jim Clubber Lang, NFL expert, not export, last I heard. Those are the guests on the program today. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please? Director Gordon, please, and thank you. Before we jump into the normal stuff, I'm calling an audible at the line of scrimmage. I'm changing the play like Tyrod Taylor did for the Giants last night. Here's the breaking news because it pertains to us. Football will become an Olympic sport in 2028. The IOC has included flag football in the official program for the 2028 games slated for Los Angeles. I'll get more into it later. This is a Canadian press story, but I'm going to say it again. Darren and I, and Serena too, have a very close spot in our heart for flag football, but also USA football, because they brought us in to announce their national championships last year in Charlotte, and there was a buzz around the field in Charlotte at the USA Performance Center. You know, we might be in the Olympics, in 2028. Right then, Darren, it seemed like just a dream. Well, today was officially announced, along with a couple other sports. This is a big day for everybody, and I want to say congratulations to Scott and Sean and all the athletes around the world it's like 100 million athletes around the world, I believe is what no, it's maybe, I got to look up the numbers. They're in the story. It's a hell of a lot, Jim. It's a big day.
It's a huge day. Congratulations to everybody involved. The other sports that got into the Olympics as well. Congratulations.
Cricket.
To all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, cricket's one of them. Squash, I believe, got in, right? So there's a list. Read the list. But it's awesome. When you and I have an affinity and that relationship with flag football, it's so much fun. I know we'll get into this more later, but big day. Great way to start the week.
We're going to Los Angeles for the Olympics. And they showered us with gifts in Charlotte, like this bucket hat. Somewhere along the line, I became a bucket hat guy. So they're like, hey, take this, take that. Yeah, you're representing us, USA Football. We're like, yeah, feels good. Let's go. So that's big news there. That's point 6. Can you hit the show horn again, Director Jordan? I'll go back to point 1. We're going to start with the NFL, which, did I tell you that flag football and USA Football and the NFL, they're tight. The Philadelphia Eagles and San Francisco 49ers suffered their first losses the NFL season on Sunday. The 5-1 Eagles were upset by the Jets 20-14, and the now 5-1 49ers lost to the Cleveland Browns 19-17 when Jake Moody missed a 41-yard field goal with 6 seconds to go. Everybody's talking NFL all across the continent today, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it, but what even my friends are talking about is in the Sunday Nighter, Josh Allen patiently oversaw 2 lengthy second-half scoring drives, capped by a 15-yard touchdown pass to Quentin Morris with 3:58 to go, and the 4-2 Buffalo Bills defeated the undermanned but gritty 1-5 New York Football Giants 14-9. What was anticipated to be a Bills blowout turned into a grounded-out, chippy and occasionally sloppy thriller that wasn't decided until the final play of the game. So I'm seeing everybody's Twitter blowing up, some Facebook comments on the non-interference call in the end zone on the game-winning play in the end to save the game for the Bills. Chris Sanford, I don't got to tell you, my guy Chris Sanford, huge Giants fan. They're really ticked today. Let me say it again. I'll repeat it for those that are new. I don't have any time for the officiating argument unless it's my team that gets screwed. Then we'll talk about it all day. Other than that, they're human, and I don't like talking about it. How about you?
I'm kind of the same way. I get pretty irrationally emotional when it's my team that's getting screwed. But when you sit back and think about it, I have time for official arguments, but not when it comes to winning and losing the game. Especially if you didn't score. Whether there was a penalty that could have extended it and giving you another chance, great. But no, don't sit here and say they lost you the game. The fact is you didn't score enough points, regardless of what the officials did.
You hear that, Chris? Take it up with Moose. The one question that was in my mind on Sunday was this, though. I don't know how you were obviously watching the London game because your Titans were in the game. I watched the game because I was working out and I needed to be distracted because I get bored. We all know that I'm a squirrel. And I kind of wonder why they even have pregame shows on the other networks, CBS and ESPN, when Fox was carrying the London game. Did you not find it a little distracting? I'm all for the London games. Believe me, I am. And Germany upcoming, and Mexico. But why would anybody watch the other pregame shows? Like, even the panelists on those pregame shows should be watching the London game, don't you think? So the NFL is kind of cannibalizing its own audience, I feel, on Sundays with these European games. What do you think?
Well, a little bit. You're talking about the pregame shows on while the game is happening. And everybody you think is watching that game. I guess what you see in the NFL is fans that, non-fans of the Titans and Ravens, maybe you're getting ready to watch their teams and like those pregame shows. I think what the NFL does well, though, is they give you options. You might watch I might watch Fox for the pregame, and we might sit there and think, this is so good. Why would there be anything else? And why do we need to have 4 pregame shows? But you know what? There's so many people in the U.S. and around the world that watch the National Football League, and they want to watch their own thing at their own time. So the NFL has options. That's what's really cool. That's something that we don't really have in Canada. We don't really have options.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I had to fix my headphones. I feel like Howdy Doody or Dale Evans. Name Dale Evans mean anything to you, Darren?
Over my head.
Of course you don't. The older viewers know. It was Roy Rogers' main squeeze. And she had the thing around her cowboy hat to keep it on. That's what I thought. Can't have that. So I'm fixing it here. The text line's open, 902-518-3033, 902-518-3033. Main squeeze means girlfriend, partner. You probably don't even know what that
That
means.
I know. No,
You're so
I know
young.
main squeeze. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Bomber Boy writes in. The text line's open, as I say. It's brought to you by EMJ Marketing. And Bomber Boy says, is there anything better than a healthy dose of RP in the Moose after an amazing sports weekend? I'll wait. No, there's nothing better. So thank you, Bomber Boy, for tuning in from Calgary on the Game Plus television network. So moving on in my quick six show topics here. To hockey, Brady Tkachuk scored twice. Vladimir Tarasenko had a goal and an assist, and the Ottawa Senators defeated the Tampa Bay Lightning 5-2 Sunday. Matthew Joseph and Tim Stützle also scored for the Sens, who are 2-1. Tanner Jeannot and Anthony Cirelli scored for the Lightning, who slipped to 1-2. Elsewhere, Frank the Tank Vatrano scored thrice as the Anaheim Ducks beat the Carolina Hurricanes 6-3. Our hockey coverage, by the way, is brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company out of Calgary, Alberta. Head down to the tap room Thursday through Saturday, noon to 8 p.m. to check it out yourself. Check out their website ahead of time at commoncrownbrewingcompany.ca. I'll look ahead in the NHL in a moment, but do you have any? We have a lot of leftovers to get to on this Monday. I love leftovers. We got NFL leftovers, NHL leftovers, CFL leftovers, all coming up here in the warm-up. But I watched 6 hours of hockey on Saturday and really enjoyed it, Moose. I watched the Winnipeg Jets beat the Florida Panthers 6-4. I tried to get some Jets fans to bite. I went fishing on Twitter to try and tick them off. They didn't bite it. They're on to my game in Winnipeg, so that's fine. I said they were lucky to win.
I saw that.
They sniffed that out fast. Yeah, nobody bit. And then that night was Connor Bedard at Montreal. And for you people in Montreal booing Connor Bedard, I'm not going to dignify that with any comments or opinion. He had an assist. He kept his point streak going at 3. And it leads into tonight's game, which we'll get to in a moment. Pretty good game. 6 hours of hockey was enough for me. Kind of shut her down after that. Was in and out on the NFL on Sunday, but not totally ensconced. What were your NHL leftovers from the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about the game tonight, but, you know, Austin Matthews continuing a great start, back-to-back hat tricks is great. First guy since Ovechkin, and him and Ovechkin are the only ones to do it, it feels like, I believe, and since like 1917 or something crazy like that, start the season with back-to-back hat tricks. Pretty cool. And then what's going on in Edmonton? I keep seeing that, you know, to lose both games to the Canucks in the way that they did. And the biggest takeaway for me with the Oilers is in 2 games, just one even strength goal, I believe, is the deal. Or right around there. The power play isn't lighting the world on fire either. I think they were 2 for 7 or 3 for 7 the other night. So it's tough in Edmonton right now, and I know it's not a great start to the week for them.
Well, I thought about calling today Overreaction Monday, but I think I'll save it to Overreaction Tuesday because we had enough other things to talk about. But I'll remind everybody, these are the same goaltenders that piloted the Oilers to a 50-win season last year and 109 points. It also just dawned on me that the Golden Knights finished with 111 points last year, then went on to win the Stanley Cup. So take that for what you will. And by the way, for everybody in my adopted hometown of Estevan, Saskatchewan, the Stanley Cup is going to be in the Tap House tonight, Willie's Tap House. I love that place, ran by my good friend and yours, Peanut Butter Pete Saragella. Jim McKenzie is bringing the Stanley Cup there tonight, but I'm getting off topic here. I thought about this. I stayed away from social media for the most part. You probably noticed, other than trying to troll Jets fans, and it didn't work. And I had this voice in the back of my head going, they're really talking, Rod. The fans are really talking. I'm like, let them talk. Because what are you going to argue that the Oilers' goaltending was bad and all the things you just mentioned? We all know it's bad. We can all see it. I'm pretty sure the goalies know that they've been bad. and need to be better. And sometimes, especially early in the season, because I have coached and have played and I've also lived life, I'll ask you this. If Jay Woodcroft went and got in the face of Jack Campbell or Stuart Skinner and said, look, we need you to be better, you think that would work? Because it worked to me, not as a player. There was nothing you could say that would get to my head or heart as a player. But in the broadcasting world, I had my bosses come up to me, Jeff Currier, Willie Cole. We need more from you. And I felt terrible, and I wanted to please them. And it kind of launched my career. Do you see the parallel? Or am I completely out to lunch? What do you think?
No, I see the parallel. On the flip side, you say that to Jack Campbell, and it's like, we know we got to be better. I know I got to be better. He knows he's got to be better. And same with Stuart Skinner. And like you said, these are the same two goalies that piloted you to the playoffs. And if it wasn't for the Golden Knights, potentially the Stanley Cup final, and maybe even winning the Cup. So, trust that they can get you back there. I wouldn't be throwing the baby out with the bathwater, at least not after 2 games. And maybe that, part of this is the Canucks are improved too, right? There has to be something said about Vancouver playing better too, even though they got outshot in the second game.
I never thought about giving Vancouver any credit. It's more of a football term. It sucks when the other team tries too. And by the way, can you please explain to me, because you fashion yourself as a football guy, what the hell does the term put a hat on a hat even mean? I was listening to the Dolphins game on the radio. Yeah, I was driving around yesterday. What the hell does that even mean? You're going to put a hat on a hat?
I don't know.
How do you do that? You know that's a ardent football term, Darren. Put a hat on a hat. I guess I would get another hat, my CFL bucket hat that they gave me, and put it on. What does it mean? I'm waiting for an answer.
I don't know. That's a new one for me. I actually don't know that one.
You've never heard it?
No.
You've been in football all these years. You've never heard that.
But a hat on a hat.
Last one before we break. Point 3. It's our poll question today for our friends at Key Auto Group. And let me tell you something about Key Auto Group. At the Key Auto Group, you can buy with confidence knowing that they provide reports on all vehicles they sell. Get fully informed about your next vehicle by going to keyautogroup.ca. It's in the Canadian Press Wire story. The Connor Bedard show touches down in Toronto tonight. Yes, Chicago versus the Maple Leafs. Darren touched on it earlier. Auston Matthews can do something never before done, open a season with 3 straight hat tricks, versus Bedard, who's on a 3-game point streak as a rookie. We'll spend more time on that coming back after the break, but our poll question today for Key Auto Group is, who will have more points tonight, Connor Bedard or Auston Matthews? And because Darren will say, because Auston Matthews is on a roll, on a heater, and he's older, and it's his rink, I'll say Auston Matthews has more points tonight. Who are you voting for in that poll?
You know what? I'll go with Matthews. Oh man, it's hard to do. I'll go with Matthews for the same reason. He's on a heater. I think he keeps going. They're at home. I like that. But this is so much fun for Bedard. This is his, he had his first game and he played Crosby. Now this is the second of the big ones. He's got Matthews head to head. I think this will be a lot of fun for him because Bedard can score goals, and that's what Matthews does so well. I'm looking forward to the game tonight.
Just some quick comments and then we'll break. Navy Dawn, our friend Navy Dawn writes in and says, NHL, nudge me in February when the games matter. And then he says the SA versus FR rugby game was epic, much better than the NFL offering on the weekend. Don, you're a Navy man. You know I love you. That makes you a government employee, which means you know nothing about business. So if you're going to compare NFL, NHL versus rugby, we're not going to be able to talk nor be friends. It's a numbers game. It's a business. Leanne writes in from Regina. She says, hat on a hat means make solid tackles. No, I know that. Where did it come from? Put a hat on a hat? It's no sense. You know where the phrase, oh, thank you, Clark, helmet to helmet. I got you now. I just went like, put a hat on a hat. Well, she makes solid tackles. Okay, well, that makes... How do you know football, Clark? I thought you were a baseball guy. Oh, thought you weren't allowed to hit in the head.
I never played defense, okay?
Tony, that doesn't surprise me at all. We got a break. We'll be right back. It's the warm-up. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
The RP Show continues, and live from South Florida. And here we go. Got some comments coming in on our discussion earlier about the term hat on a hat. Moose is in Toronto. I'm here in Florida, as you know. And Clark says it comes from the term helmet on helmet. I appreciate that, Clark. Leanne says that term probably been banned now since shots to the head are being penalized. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says haven't had a no term. Well, no, because I just heard it on the radio yesterday. So it's still a thing. And Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in regarding the 0-2 Oilers out of Edmonton. Glenn says the ebb and flow of emotions makes the Oilers fan base the most entertaining bunch on the planet. I will not disagree with that. I think he's bang on. What do you think? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. They're the it fan base right now of the day. I think they've surpassed, at least a little bit, Toronto in that sense. Because of the expectations, and then the sky is falling, and then we're the best, and the sky is falling, and it goes back and forth. I think Toronto has kind of lost the bravado of we're the best because they haven't won, right? But it's entertaining at the very least.
You can say we, Darren. You're in the Leafs nation, and that's fine. And to be honest, I find Leafs fans far easier to take than Oilers fans. And I live with an Oilers fan. So how about that? Now, for a lot of you, you've come here today for CFL talk, and that's cool. We're going to come back around on the big breaking news today that flag football will be included in the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. We're very excited for our partnerships with both USA Football and Football Canada. And, we'll be in LA for it. But to the CFL, oh, my gosh, man, I could do 2 hours a day on CFL football very easily. Probably could do more, to be honest. But I also like the variety of talking about other things. But so the games this weekend, Darren, I was watching the streaming version, CFL Plus, which was fantastic, of BC Hamilton. And I got in a discussion the other day, this weekend, about CFL versus NFL. I don't know how I got trapped in that conversation because I don't like that conversation. Football is football. But with a minute and a half to go in the BC Hamilton game, I'm like, I wanted to go to bed, but I can't turn this off. Hamilton misses a field goal with a minute to go, and then the Lions march it down and win it on a field goal, and a huge game in Hamilton with Bo Levi. And I don't understand why they were saying Bo was only going to play a half, but then he came out to play the second half. Hamilton's starting quarterback. It's a tough loss for Hamilton to take. Huge win for BC to get. You're not getting that in the NFL. They're walking off the field at that point in the game where I was considering turning it off. So much happens in the CFL in the last minute. If you turn it off, you're an idiot. And yes, I've been an idiot. Calgary Stampeders. I don't like to be I'm not a procrastinator. The Calgary Stampeders are procrastinators, Darren. Well, we'll get to it when we have to. Like the third last weekend of the regular season, they beat Saskatchewan 26-9. They didn't even get in it play until the second half. Fourth quarter? Right. Yeah, Calgary beats Saskatchewan 26-19. They're doing everything they can, Calgary, to get a playoff spot. If they just played with a little urgency in the summertime, they wouldn't be in this bind. But now they're playing like their lives depend on it, because it does. And on the flip side, all Saskatchewan has to do is win a game. It's got to win a game? On a 6-game losing streak? That's all we got to do is win a game? They can't do that. It's in my 10 things column on the weekend. Like, Darren, if they miss the playoffs, this is the most epic collapse I've ever even heard of, what Saskatchewan's doing right now. You understand it because you're better at math than me. What are they doing? But at least they went bowling on Sunday as part of a team bonding. You watch more of that game. I'll shut up and let you take over for a while.
No, you're right. And they started out well. I'm like, okay, this team, it looks like they want to win. And Calgary, like you said, procrastinating. They're going to wait till the third last game. They're going to wait till the second half of the third last game of the season before they finally get going. But they did. And it just felt like, from bad to worse, and the momentum, when it goes the wrong way, it's hard to stop. And that's what's happened in Saskatchewan. Look, why not take them bowling? People are joking about that, but why not? I might have legitimately just not played the game and had them go somewhere else and watch a game for the week and say, we'll forfeit because we need to get this team reset back to normal. You got to do something, anything. And it doesn't get easier. You got to play Toronto, who probably won't be resting anybody. because they've got another week where they might rest people in the final week of the season. I don't know. So it's not going to get easier for you. And now you need to win that game or you're done. So now your back's really against the wall and now you're feeling a lot of pressure. And I don't know what you do.
I'm sorry. They don't have to beat Toronto because if Calgary loses their last two, Sask gets in. And that's what I hate about this time of year.
Yeah.
Our CFL coverage is brought to you in part by Sober Carpenter non-alcoholic craft beer. Check them out at sobercarpenter.com. We have a text message that's come in on the personal line from Chris Sanford, and I'm reading it because you're named in it.
Uh-oh.
It says, "Hey, Kamikaze." Is that my nickname now? Kamikaze? He says, "I hate to complain about..." Oh, because from the intro, I got you. He goes, "I hate to complain about the refs too, but you can't screw up in the end zone with a game on the line. Tell Moose if Waller doesn't get held, the Giants score more points than the Bills." Well, if my aunt had nuts, she'd be my uncle. We're sitting here. It's a loss for the Giants, for the G-men. So that's my point. I get it. If it was the Chris Sanford show, you could talk for 2 hours about how the refs screwed you, but it ain't. Now,
if you had put points on the board at the end of the first half, instead of letting the clock run out,
right,
you probably would have won too.
Yeah. Just continuing on with this, Saturday's another reason I don't like this time of year in the CFL or any regular season of any league is the meaningless games. Like the game in Edmonton meant nothing. Mm-hmm. Montreal beat Edmonton 35-21. I guess it did mean something because the Alouettes clinched second place. I saw my guy Cody Fajardo, the Alouettes quarterback, posting to Instagram how much it meant to win 10 games and host a playoff game. He had to get the vindication off his chest that he's not the problem with the Rough Riders. But a lot of us that can actually see knew that. But I'll allow him to say it. Why the hell not? And then Toronto beat Ottawa 40-27. And I tell you, if I was Rider fans, my knees would be knocking because Ryan Dinwiddie said it, the head coach of the Argonauts, we're going to Saskatchewan to win. So there's a very realistic chance Saskatchewan won't miss the playoffs, and I'm just sitting here, won't make the playoffs, and I'm sitting here rubbing my fingers wondering who they're going to blame now. Moving on, point 5, Jordan Montgomery shut down the Houston Astros, and Leody Taveras homered as the Texas Rangers did just enough against Justin Verlander to earn a 2-0 win in Sunday's opener of the American League Championship Series. Game 2 goes Monday. Same with Game 1 of the NLCS, Arizona at Philly. And I want to say this again. Breaking news that, I'll be honest, Darren and I are quite excited about. Football will become an Olympic sport in 2028. The IOC has included flag football in the official program for the 2028 games slated for Los Angeles. The IOC's decision follows deliberations and recommendations from the IOC Executive Board, the IOC Olympic Program Commission, and the Los Angeles Organizing Committee, concluding a comprehensive 2-year evaluation process. It's estimated that 20 million players in over 100 countries, including Canada, actively participate in flag football. So let me take you behind the front lines of this, or onto the front lines. As we were in Charlotte, and I appreciate the guys from USA Football showering us with gifts. Get yours out, Moose. You got one handy there. The gift they gave you, right? You got the, no, others, there you go. USA, they gave us hats, football. They're like, wear it, you represent us. I'm like, namaste. And I'm on the air broadcasting on the Home Team Live app and the Olympic Network, saying, we're really hoping that flag football will be included in the 2028 Olympics of Los Angeles. And then I'm getting this thing in my ear. Maybe don't mention that. Don't mention that because we don't want to, maybe because we're not yet. Don't. Oh, okay. And then we have the president and CEO of USA Football come on with you, Moose, and needed interviews with me too. And he's like, we're really hoping to be in the Olympics in 2028. We plan to be there. And I'm like, well, if the president and CEO can say it, how come I can't say it? That's the tough part about being the voice of something, because you got 8,700 opinions in your ear about what you should say and what you shouldn't. But because Scott said it, and I feel like that presidents and CEOs are a lot that way, Darren, as you know, just put it out there. Speak it into the universe. Give it energy. And so I can't even imagine what's going on in the USA Football office with this. They're going to be in the Olympics, man. Bravo. Hats off, literally. Put a hat on a hat. It's fantastic.
That's great. It is awesome. And when you talk about Olympic sports, it checks all the boxes. Highly competitive. Lots of countries can play. They play it at a high level. It just checks all the boxes to be an Olympic sport. And it's going to be a great one. It's fan friendly. It's TV friendly. So I think it's going to really, really be exciting in 2028 in LA, and people are going to pay attention and be excited about it.
Oh, I'd like to have a little bit of a discussion here, and we'll get to more NHL in hour 2. There's been a lot of football here in hour 1, and that's cool. I'm here for it. We don't have a lot of time here, but the NFL is part of this. NFL flags part of this, and then flag football itself, USA football. Navy Dawn says, not doubting the marketing giant that is the NFL, but other nations are capable of supporting more than one sporting entity. The rugby match was really good, and I enjoyed it. That's cool, man, but you got to stop fighting it. You got to stop fighting it. And I like the argument. Guy wrote me and said, it was last week when we were talking about this could happen. He goes, well, I think 12-man football, tackle football should be in the Olympics. I'm like, it's not going to happen. 11-man football is more popular as it is. They don't play it worldwide. Again, when are you going to stop fighting this stuff and just go with what fits? For Darren and I and Serena, this USA football thing, the flag, it's a perfect fit for us. They've welcomed us on inside, and I don't need to tell you what isn't a fit anymore.
12-man, 11-man, neither are played worldwide, right? Flag is. That's why it's cool.
Flag is. I'll see you in hour 2. More hockey then. As a matter of fact, more hockey after this break. Mike Benton on the mic, joins us from the Seattle Kraken radio crew. We are live on the Game Plus television network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey guys, Manscaped has done it again, introducing the Handyman Facial Razor. It's brand new, not for your junk, it's for up top, and like every Manscaped product, tons of thought has gone into it. Sleek, compact, and charges by USB, fits very handily into your shaving kit for those road trips. And right now, with a promo code VRP Show, you get 20% off and free shipping. That's VRP Show at manscaped.com. Speaking of road trips, Mike Benton's made several. Not a lot lately, though. He's the host now, Seattle Kraken games on KJR Radio. There he is with the trusted shirt. Mike, what's your paddock level at 0-2-1 of the Seattle Kraken here in this opening week of the regular season?
Hey, Rod. Hey, thanks first for having me here. I would say on a scale of, 0 to full tilt, it maybe is at a 0.5 right now. I mean, last week, a 3-game road trip, it was a 5-layer dip of really what could have been. And the Kraken said they left a lot on the table. I mean, that first game against Vegas, they're just flat out rolling right now. And they flexed their muscle in that opening night game. And the Kraken had also a 5-minute major power play, which came up empty. And you figure, you get 1 or 2 goals or down by 2, that could have easily turned that game on its head. It didn't happen. Nashville, things fell apart in the middle of the second period, and Dave Axtell, from a few accounts, had a very, very intense skate waiting for the guys the very next day after in St. Louis. So in St. Louis, things you could sense began to turn around a little bit. It was a tight game, but you saw the Kraken skate. They had puck control. They had their special teams going, and you saw more ingredients that were akin to success of last season. And Joey Decor, now backing up Philip Grubauer, was very, very good in net. So there are good signs now that are brewing and moving right toward the top here for this team. That's going to continue here this week because even though they're going to be at home, they've got Colorado up next, then the Hurricanes, then the Rangers. That's not going to be easy.
You know, here on the telecast of Saturday's Florida Panthers loss at Winnipeg, Jeff Chikrin, TV analyst for the Panthers, said, it's good to be on the road. Get these Kinks out on this opening road trip before coming home for the home opener. That's kind of the Kraken road map. Is that what you're thinking? And did you kind of just say that in Coach Hackstall too?
Yeah, well, I kind of get the sense where, when you go on the road, and for a Kraken team that was very good on the road last season, they were able to simplify their game. And I touched on this earlier as well. They play a very delicate, intricate system that incorporates a ton of detail. You've got to skate, until, your eyes are going to fall out of your head, basically. And in those first week or 2 weeks, you can have details that fall apart, but, going on the road is very, very good for team camaraderie. We got the sense from that. We got the sense from that last year when they were able to, move away from their own home bed. You have a lifestyle that incorporates game rink, practice, hotel, maybe the rinse, repeat. That's where they can clear their mind and simplify things. So on the side, at least, that's where I think being on the road for the first week had that advantage. And now you come back home to where, life becomes a little bit more complex, a bit more layered here. So as far as on-ice stuff, those details are still being worked out right now. But to be on the road here for the first week for a team that relies so much on the interpersonal side with team bonding and everyone pitching in, pardon the cliche, that's where you find value in being on the road for those first 3 games.
So you mentioned the home opener, and I got friends going. They're very excited about it. That's Tuesday night against the Colorado Avalanche, a rematch of last year's startling playoff series. What's got you excited about it, and what is exciting about that game, Mike?
Well, I think first off, back to Game 6 in the second round against the Dallas Stars, and just how loud the building was. I really hate using hyperbole when it comes to crowd volume and noise. And, I haven't been to Montreal for a playoff game. Someday I hope to be. I haven't been to Chicago for a playoff game, but I've been to nearly 30 Stanley Cup playoff games in my life, from a previous line of work, or even just as a fan back in the 90s when I was a kid growing up. And my first taste was, seeing Wayne Gretzky up close in Southern California, the Paul Kariya, Teemu Selanne duo, and you really understood just how much more intense the crowd volume is, engagement for playoff games like that. San Jose is well known to blow the roof off the place. I've been there before. Game 6 in Dallas, and I ran this by a few folks also who have been to other places. For me, it was the loudest I've ever heard a playoff building, and for many else, they said it was among the loudest they've ever heard a playoff game. So tying all this in, that left us with, a taste in our mouth for these last 5 months in this summer, where we couldn't wait around here to experience a home game environment once again. That's what the home opener to me is all about, to get in front of these fans once again, to hear 17,000 plus on this team's side as well, and to really understand how much this team and this fan base and this city has grown together collectively here over the last 2 seasons. The Avalanche, as far as the on-ice stuff, it's going to be a tough matchup. I mean, they come back essentially the same crew intact, add Jonathan Drouin there, of course. But, for me, we saw just how well a guy like Nathan MacKinnon plays. When he's on edge, he's angry, he's intense. And, you talk to any team who loses a 7-game series, that's a bitter taste in their mouth. So the Kraken really have to expect that Colorado is going to give them everything they've got coming up here on Tuesday night. That's going to be a great game.
Last one for you. I don't know if you're familiar with Reed Johnson from the Mark Cast. It's a podcast out of Seattle. He was on with us last week from Vegas, and he brought up, he always gives me an Eberle report because my guy is Jordan Eberle, and somewhere I missed.
Yeah.
That Ebbs has said he hopes to end his career in Seattle. I mean, I know he loves it. Is that something he said recently? And what are the chances of that? And how big of a part of this team is my good friend?
Yeah, I'll buy that. I mean, Jordan Eberle, he's a veteran status, Rod, as you know. He's been around the league so much. And we think about how much he's come along since his days as a Regina Pat, where, he's at that phase of his career where, he's got full leverage to do what he wants on his own terms. And even though he's going to go into a contract year, he could easily just say, I'm going to keep my options open. I want to do what's best here for my family. But he got out in front of this nearly day 1 of training camp. And he said, I've made my stance clear. My family loves it here. I love it here. I want to be here long term for this next phase. And really, to be quite honest here, when you find a place that just doesn't suit your career but your family, you begin to think of things from a long-term perspective of, what happens when I'm done playing? What's this next step? Where Jordan Eberle goes, that is still a mystery right now at this point. But that first year was very telling, I think, for me, when the Kraken brought in a huge collection of veterans. And you had really kind of a mixed bag of guys that said, I want to be here, or guys who wouldn't commit. And they were just saying, I'm going to kind of bide my time. And if I move on, I move on. Jordan Eberle was the former. He has been all in for this team, which means matters have clicked for him around here in Seattle. And he's a guy I see who can be carrying this flag for this franchise for a long, long time. I love my talks with him. Every conversation I hear from him, he says something that I basically learn brand new each day. And he's one of my first go-to guys as far as insight. So, where that leads him, we'll see. But one thing's for sure, he loves it here, and he's got long-term on his mind.
He's a good one. Please say hey to him. Mike, as are you. Benton on the mic. Thanks for the time and keep doing a great job, man. We're following out here, enjoying it.
I appreciate it. Anytime, Rod. Thank you.
Mike Benton from Sports Radio KJR out there in Seattle. Sports update coming up next and audience takeover. In hour two, our NFL insider Jim Lang. We are live on the Game Plus television network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Gonna try to sneak in as much as I can in this segment. Some's gonna have to push to next hour. I was smiling near the end of the interview with Mike Benton where he talked about the beautiful things, wonderful things Jordan Eberle said about Seattle, which I believe all to be true, and I think he will end his career there. But I remember coming home from the WHL All-Star game in Swift Current, of which Jordan was an All-Star. I think it was the MVP of the game. We were driving back to Regina in the same car. And after the game, Jordan said he loved playing in Swift Current in front of the wonderful hockey fans and WHL fans of Swift Current. And then in the car on the way home, I'm like, but you hate those people. He's like, yeah, but they don't need to know that. And that's the difference between guys like Ebbs and the guys like me, where I would be leaning out of the broadcast booth yelling, I hate you all, and mean it. But that's also why I needed a police escort out of Swift Current from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. So I should have been listening to Jordan, probably, although he was years my junior. Sports update, the Canadian Football League Alumni Association proud to announce that Hamilton Tiger Cat alumni Leo Ezrins and Rocky DiPietro have been named co-winners of the CFL 2023 Alumnus of the Year Award. Teammates in 1986 when the Ticats won the Grey Cup Championship. It's only fitting these two stars represent Hamilton at the 110th Grey Cup. The CFL alumni will present this prestigious award to these two outstanding Ticats alumni members during the 2023 Grey Cup Festival at the popular CFL Alumni Luncheon presented by CarStar. It's the best event at Grey Cup. Tickets are available at greycupfestival.ca/tickets. Sports update is for Common Crown Brewing Company. They have the perfect craft beer for your enjoyment, featuring their core five: Good Company Hazy Pale Ale, Common Crown Crafted Lager, Journeyman IPA, Brewmaster Blonde Ale, and Coppersmith Brown Ale, four of which sit below 5% ABV, making them the ideal beer for your everyday common affair. To the text line regarding USA Football's announcement and the IOC that flag football will be included in the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. Chris Tom is watching on Game Plus TV in Heidelberg, Ontario, and he says, I've heard field lacrosse will also be in the 2028 Olympics. Rob Tyson, all the way up in Cold Lake, Alberta, writes in and says, no mention of lacrosse being included in the 2028 Olympics? Our summertime national sport? Is it field or box lacrosse? Thanks, guys. What's the shirt say, bro? I had somebody say, how come you don't promote Football Canada and flag football? Because USA Football is paying me.
How about that?
That's why. Pretty simple. Speaking of CFL alumni, Miles Gurrell, the 6'8" offensive lineman, I once said to him, who's your favorite CFL team? He played for like 7. He goes, whoever's paying me. Never forgot that. Brian in Hudson Bay, Sask writes in, says, good morning, Rod and Moose. How high do you think the firings go after the Riders end the season on another 7-game losing streak? I hope it starts right at the top. Do you think that will happen? Great show as usual. I can tell you, Brian, I think very little about it. And I'll be perfectly honest when I tell you, I don't really care. They're a really screwed up organization, and they've allowed it all to happen. So you'd think they'd do the right thing, but I don't think that they will. So I don't think about it too much. I will tell you this, though. My phone is blowing up with people that want the job, that top job of which you referenced. So I don't know. I don't know. I know what should have happened last year and didn't. I know what should happen this year and probably won't. Not my team anymore, and we've all moved on. Coming up next hour, Jim Lang, Canada's foremost NFL expert, and a lot of hockey talk after this quick pause on Game Plus and WWE Radio.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
No! You all didn't know the old me, that for 40 years, Darren, I was a kamikaze. The fact that I'm alive is a miracle.
How about that?
I've ridden steers, jumped off cliffs, been shot and been shot at, and I survived it all.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
There we go. We're live. Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome inside the RP Show. Very special episode, number 1100, although they're all one day at a time, really all just the same. It's just a number. We're broadcasting live from the beautiful South Florida studio, as you can tell. Changed things up a little bit out here in the Line A, and I quite like the look. Darren Moose Dupont joins us. He's in the Toronto studio, where it's not quite as balmy.
Uh-oh. What are we going to do for episode 100? Oh, you're back.
Say what?
You broke up for a second. I was going to ask you, what are we going to do for episode 1111?
Oh, you know what? I'm glad that you said that. I think we should bring on Kevin the Medium.
Ooh.
And have him do some, something like that, because he's very big into the numbers. And Serena does that too, by the way. She's a medium as well. Believe it or not, she's just not as out there as Kevin. She can do it. So Ryan in Toronto writes in, he says, is it just me, or was that a super fast hour one? Great show. It was super fast, but that's just because you were entertained and we were all having a good time, because as they say, time flies when you're having fun. The very big news of the day is out of the IOC that the International Olympic Committee, that flag football will be added to the program of the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. We've got people writing in saying, what about lacrosse? It's been added. What about cricket? It's been added. And I'll say we have nothing to do with those sports. But we do have a lot of friends in the lacrosse community. So, maybe we'll get involved in that. But all I know is USA Football made this announcement today along with the IOC, and we're very excited about it and planning to be in Los Angeles. Allie in Texas writes in. She says, inject the hockey talk into my veins this morning. We're going to do that. And Jordan S., watching on the stream, says, Connor Bedard will get his first career hat trick tonight. Wouldn't that be something? Now would be a really good time to tell you that our poll question today is for Key Auto Group, as it is every day. Key Auto Group, driven by safety. Experience peace of mind with our comprehensive multi-point inspections. Visit keyautogroup.ca for more automotive excellence. Question is, who will have more points tonight? Austin Matthews of the Toronto Maple Leafs or Connor Bedard of the Chicago Blackhawks? And let's spend a minute on this for a second. I'm thoroughly enjoying just watching this whole Bedard thing. If you go to our Instagram story and follow it at The Rod Pedersen Show, you'll see a photo of us interviewing Connor when he was 14 years of age on this show. It was only 4 years ago. But, Moose, if you take a look at Connor then at 14 and Connor now where he's a man, it seems like a century ago. And I'm just, what did you think? I assume you saw Jeremy Roenick's video on Saturday of people, we're all supposed to can the Bedard talk and the hype and let the kid play hockey. Like, JR, you're about 2 years, maybe 3 years too late on that. What do you think?
Yeah. That started when he was 14, 15 into the league. You and I were supposed to can the Bedard talk, right? And then he was selling out every building. We got sat down and told, maybe we shouldn't be hyping this kid up so much. Really? That was prior to the World Juniors. And then he went on and did the World Junior thing. And then he's selling out every barn. Like, I don't know who's a bigger deal right now, Connor Bedard or Taylor Swift. Like, yeah, I was looking this morning, just so you know, I was looking this morning on StubHub, tickets for the Leafs and Blackhawks tonight, because Bedard's there, excuse me, more expensive than the Leafs season opener, which I thought was really high. The $181 is the minimum price to get in the building tonight. It was $165 for the home opener.
Well, hey, again, I know you were busy on the weekend traveling. I'm not sure if you read my 10 Things column, but I've heard, and I believe this to be true, the world is split into two categories, those who get it and those who don't get it. And the guy that told us to can the Bedard hype, and as you very eloquently said, sat us down and told us to can it, he's selling cars now, right? Like, leave it to us. Did you see the graphic that came out that the Bedard debut in the NHL, what was it, Tuesday night? 1.43 million viewers, Chicago at Pittsburgh. It was the most watched NHL regular season game on cable television ever. But, oh, yeah, let's can the hype. Darren, why do they say such dumb things? I don't understand. Because they get mad at me. They've caused a lot of problem in my life. People like that don't get it.
I don't have an answer for you. I don't.
Okay.
We're just gonna do what we do, and
until they tell us not to do it anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Until they tell us not to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, the Bedard stuff?
Yeah, we do listen to an extent, but only to an extent.
Yeah. Did you hear my story I told about Eberle last hour?
No.
When we were leaving Swift? Well, Mike Benton was on the air with us last hour from the Seattle Kraken radio crew, and he was talking about how Ebbs just recently said that he'd love to end his career in Seattle, leaving those contracts about up. And I smiled. And I believe that to be true because Jordan told me that off the air as well, like a year or two ago at a golf tournament in Calgary. But it just reminded me in Swift Current. Remember when we used to have the Subway Select Series, WHL All-Stars versus Russia? And Eberle was there representing the WHL. He was the MVP of the game. And after the game, he was being interviewed going, what a pleasure to play in front of these great hockey fans in Swift Current. And in the way home, I'm like, but you hate them. This was what I said to him. And he goes, yeah, but they don't need to know that. I will never think that way. And it would be nice if I did. That would have also caused me a lot less problems in my life. Instead of me standing up and yelling out of the press box, I hate you all! And meaning it.
I'm a big and not or guy, right? I believe it should be this and that, not this or that. But both are good. Both are good. It's nice to be authentic, right? It's also nice to go the Eberle way and be like, yeah, they don't need to know that. It's not going to affect their life or my life, you know? And I can play both sides even if I do hate them. Both have a place.
Yeah, well, what I've learned, and if Kevin the Medium's watching, we've talked about this a lot. It's not about his upbringing or my upbringing. There's just the way certain people are. And I'm not like, I wish I could bite my tongue a little more. But that's why we have a show called The Rod Pedersen Show, because people tune in not knowing what I'm going to say next. And the beautiful thing about that is I don't know what I'm going to say next. So how could you? So, yeah. The games tonight, and I got to save some of these questions that have come in on the EMJ Marketing text line for the next segment, 902-518-3033. There's some good ones, and it does pertain, some of them, to the Canadian Football League, but there's a lot of other things going on besides that, if you've noticed. National Hockey League tonight, I want to spend a minute on this. God knows we've talked enough about Chicago at Toronto, as you say. Oh, you talked about ticket prices? How about this one? This is new that you and I haven't discussed. I had a call the other night from an agent, and you're going to see him on my social media coming up in a couple of weeks' time. He said he's coming to Miami for a Dolphins game in 2 weeks against the Patriots, and he goes, I got a chance at some tickets here. They're 50% off, the friends and family deal, because I got a player playing in the game. Do you want one? And I said, how much? He goes, $469 US. I'm like, that's 50% off? And I said, to be honest, I've looked at those sweet tickets at Ticketmaster for Dolphins games, and they are into the thousands of dollars, $2,000, $3,000, $3,500. So I said, yeah, I'll pay it. I don't want to pay it, but I want to hang out with you guys. I've whittled it down to going to one Dolphins game a year. And I said this to Serena, it's too much of a pain, and they asked, and I don't know what it's like in Atlanta. Are people listening on WQEE? What's it like going to a Falcons game? Trust me, I'm going to go eventually. But here, Darren, to get in and out of Hard Rock Stadium, it's $200 to park. The parking lot that I park in, it's a 1.2 miles from the stadium. 1.2. Because I put it in my phone, well, one of the last times I was there. It's an all day there, all day back. And people, I understand there's people watching going, hello, Rod, welcome to fandom. Well, it's not like that for Panthers games for a variety of other reasons. And not to mention, I have a press pass for the Panthers games. I go to every game, and I love it. It's a lot easier to get in and out of there. Did I have a point? Not really. Other than, I guess, Darren, when people complain about ticket prices, don't go. It's pretty easy. Don't go. What do you think?
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because when you're growing up and you can go to the games and you get a chance to go to the games, great. But when things get really popular, ticket prices go up and certain people get to go and certain people then are squeezed out and don't get to go. You're just not entitled for things to be the way that they are forever. Things change, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on what side you're on. And you have a choice to go or not to go.
That's kind of where it's at. It's 1:11 Eastern, by the way. So there you go. 1:11 Eastern, 11:11 Mountain. Back in the homeland. Oh, just pointing that out.
Beautiful.
All the games are in the Eastern time zone tonight, by the way. Interestingly enough. Which I like. Except Detroit at Columbus. I believe that's Central. I believe Ohio's Central. But whatever. Not paying attention to that game anyways. Detroit at Columbus. Give me a break. Chicago at Toronto. I'm hoping will be on the NHL Network. But if it's not, I'll watch on ESPN+. NBD. Coyotes at Rangers. Arizona still got a team? Calgary at Washington. Now, this is a big one. This is a biggie. I'll probably spend some time on this. I see the Flames fans were very excited when they beat the Jets in the opener, and they should be 5-3. And they weren't that devastated when they lost in Pittsburgh the other night. It was 5-2, I think. For whatever the reason, I don't know. But they weren't as upset. They probably should have been because Pittsburgh had just played the night before, did they not? Yeah, and won at Washington. But whatever, the Flames are going to take a while to figure out their new coach, Ryan Huska. Other than that, we've talked about this. It's almost the exact same roster as ended last year. The only thing different is the coaching staff, and that's going to take a while. And then Florida, New Jersey, the Panthers have not won yet. I know you won't mind this fortuitous plug for the Cats and Bolts podcast. Serena and I will welcome Ed Jovanovski live to our studio on Wednesday for our Cats and Bolts podcast. 22nd all-time in Florida Panthers games played. Ed Jovanovski. Panthers haven't won yet. Moose, who's in the biggest trouble? You saw the poll that I put on our Instagram over the weekend. Who's in the biggest trouble? The 0-2 Oilers, the 0-2-1 Kraken, the 0-2 Panthers, or the 0-2 Buffalo Sabres? What do you think?
I probably will lean to the Kraken, but the Sabres and Panthers should probably be in that conversation a little bit. The reason being, I think Edmonton's the best team out of that group. So good teams shouldn't be worried about a slow start, okay? Because they can climb out of it. But if you're a team that was happy to make the playoffs and hoping to get back there, you can't afford a tough start, right? Florida took them to the last game of the regular season to get in. They don't want a repeat of that. That's emotionally taxing. I don't know if you could go through that again. They're a team that's looking to get in comfortably. So if you start slow, you might say, here we go again, and can the players get up for another dogfight throughout a whole half a season like that? Seattle's another one. I'd go with Seattle because I think they're a team that maybe lacks the juice to go on a wild run in the second half to get in. They need to be consistently good throughout the year.
Well, it's funny because I'll actually say the Panthers. We talked about the Oilers last hour, and all it's going to take is for Jay Woodcroft to walk up to Jack Campbell and Stuart Skinner and put his finger in their face and say, you two need to be better, and walk away. That's what I think. That's all it needs to have. They'll take it upon themselves. They're pros, and they're good enough. I believe that. I was never a Jack Campbell fan. You guys were in Toronto until you torched him on his way out of town, and for good reason. That's all it takes there. But with Florida, I've told you about my dealings with the Panthers, and they're awesome to me. They're like, come to our news conferences, come to our morning skates, come to this. And I'm like, no. I'm doing other things. I'm going to FAU. I'm going to Dolphins games, obviously. I'm doing other things. I appreciate it. But I kind of wonder, I think the Panthers are going to realize, be careful what you wish for, because I'm watching every game with a fine-tooth comb. And you saw what I put on our Cats and Bolts podcast Instagram story the other day, circling 4 guys within a 10-foot space. Do you want me breaking it down? Because I don't think you want that. And I'm watching the games going, you don't have Ekblad, you don't have Montour, and that's not your fault. They're hurt. And you don't have Mark Stahl. He signed in Philly. And you don't have Radko Gudas. He signed in Anaheim. That's your top 4 defensemen from last year. They're all gone. So, as Bill Lindsay and I have talked about, it's going to take a little while to figure out the defensive zone play. And that's where they're at. So I'm pointing that out on Twitter. And I got fans coming at me and some Panthers media going, it's early, hang on. And I'm like, well, what are we supposed to do here? What side of the fence am I going to be on? And be the pro-Panther guy or the guy that actually knows what's going on? What do you think, Darren? Flip a coin? What should I do?
I know. I'd say, again, and not or. You can be both. That's what I would say. I would say to them, I'm going to be the pro-Panther guy. You know I love this team, but I'm also going to tell you what's really going on and point out when they're good, and I'll point out when they're bad at the same time. And you make great points. Like, if you don't return all those guys, it's going to take a while to get this going, but you don't have a while because, like I said a minute ago, this team, I don't know that they can afford to be in a dogfight again. Like, it'd be a lot for Paul Maurice to get them going again, to say, look, guys, we got to have another back half of the year like we did last year and be fighting every night just to sneak in at the end of the year. That's a lot to ask to go through that again.
Yeah. Is Jim Lang next, Clark? Oh, okay. All right, Moose, I'll let you go for the day. Great job. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, we got a lot to get to with Jim Lang, and I want to tell you, the difference between Florida Panthers fans and Montreal Canadiens fans from a guy that played for both, and it's a gooder. Later on, we're talking NFL. When we come back, we're live on the Game Plus television network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
2 million liters of power creates electricity. Electricity creates.
Casino. Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It is hour 2 of the RP Show, Canada's favorite daytime sports talk show and Atlanta's NHL show on WQEE Radio. And as a matter of fact, we'll open with hockey before we jump into the NFL, because why not, with Canada's foremost NFL expert, Jim Clubberlang, joining us from the Big Smoke. Hey, Jimmy, Leafs, Blackhawks tonight, the Bedard show. What's your thoughts, bro?
It's the Austin Matthews show here, Rod, in Toronto. Austin Matthews, just the 5th player in the history of the NHL to have back-to-back hat tricks to start the season, first since Ovi. And before that, you have to go back to like the 1910s or 1920s. It's been pretty remarkable, the start he's had this season. But while he's had back-to-back hat tricks, all the media here in Toronto is the Connor Bedard show. And there's been even players on both teams are commenting how much media he's had to deal with. And a few years ago, when Lou Lamoriello was GM, he didn't want rookies like Austin Matthews and others to be in a daily scrum with the media once a week, try to insulate them. And Bedard so far has been with the media like every single day. And there are some people opining whether or not it's not a bad idea, whether you limit Bedard's exposure to the media. Is it really necessary for him to talk every single day? I'm not sure. But yeah, Connor Bedard, Austin Matthews, it's going to be quite an atmosphere at Scotiabank Arena tonight.
Our question is who will have more points tonight in the game. Sounds to me like Matthews or Bedard. I've actually voted for Austin Matthews, even though I'm a Bedard fan. I'm sure you would agree.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. To the National Football League. I don't want to go to the Monday Nighter yet. I will.
Okay.
I'll ask you this, Jim, through 6 weeks, almost through 6 weeks. Who's the best team in the National Football League?
The Miami Dolphins are the best team in the National Football League. But I tell you, the most surprising team is the Detroit Lions. And their win yesterday was impressive, to say the least. And how they're winning games and who they're beating and the way they're winning them and the way Dan Campbell has them playing. And the fans in Detroit they've suffered so long. And to see them on the road to play that way and to be a legit contender in the NFC and built up with smart drafting, smart free agent signing, smart trades, it is a legit team. And if you think about the NFC North and their competition, barring major injuries, that's their division to lose. And I know it's crazy to think about because the Lions have been historically so bad for so long. And now there's a bit of a changing of the guard in the NFC. And for other top contenders in the NFC, like the 49ers and Eagles and other top teams, they have to seriously look at what the Lions are building there and how good they are.
I'm going to go to the peanut gallery. The viewers have questions for you, Jim. Theirs are always better than mine. Ted in Red Deer says, Clubber, Caleb Williams, that, folks, is the USC quarterback, says he is making enough money where he can pick which year or team drafts him. This will trickle down to the CFL recruitment, won't it? You're taking all that.
Well, it's a great question. And now it's something that coaches and GMs and owners in the NFL, pro sports in general, are dealing with. I mean, that's one of the reasons that NCAA basketball players basically played the absolute minimum they had to and then entered the draft to make more money. Now, if you are in a big campus, in a great campus, and making good money and playing in an NCAA 12-game schedule, and you are the man, the big man on campus, whatever sport you're playing, and you're making good money at doing it, why rush to leave school, enter the draft, even if it's football or whatever the sport? And we are seeing some young men and young women in NCAA sports pulling down serious money, unheard of money. For so long, they felt exploited, the way the television networks and the merchandising of the schools basically made money off the back of these student athletes. And now the pendulum's swinging the other way. So absolutely, if, you know, back in the day, remember, different players say, I'm not going to play there. You know, their famous one, John Elway, said he wasn't going to play for the Colts, ended up playing for the Broncos, stuff like that. I wonder if you're going to see players that they're looking at potential, this team's going to have the number one pick. I'm not going to play there. I'm making big money with all my endorsement deals in the NCAA. I'm just going to stay in school. I'll wait to see who has the top pick next year.
Wouldn't that be something? Well, money, the root of all evil, and who's shocked that we've got here, that this is where we are. Listen, you probably know ESPN should probably rename itself the Cowboys Network. Like, I'm a Cowboys fan, and I'm even sick of the talk. Yeah, but they go to L.A. tonight. Chargers is the opponent. What's your breakdown of the game? Because the Cowboys going in, depending on who you believed, I saw them ranked 5th or 6th in power rankings. I saw them 15th or 16th. They're 3-2 going into this game. Does this tell us anything tonight, do you think?
A little bit. I mean, this past weekend, defense has been the order of the day. The Browns defense, the Jets defense really, really stood out. And that's the reason they both won. And Dallas is going to need some good defense on the road in LA against the Chargers. The Chargers, if there's one thing they do well, they've got offensive talent. They can score points. Now, they make a lot of questionable coaching decisions where I find they go for it way too much on fourth down and whether or not to take the points or go for the touchdown. And their defense is okay. They may get Bosa back tonight, which would be a huge boost for the Chargers. But, I mean, if you look at some of the teams around the NFC, and especially the Eagles losing yesterday, this is an important game for the Dallas Cowboys in the division. Because now you win tonight, the Eagles lost, you're within shouting distance of the division. Now you lose, and you're still got that big gap with Philadelphia. So I think if you're the Dallas Cowboys, this is a game, I mean, shutting out the noise from, like, as you say, the Dallas Cowboys Network, ESPN, from, social media and everything else. Keep it within the locker room. Play the game you can. Play how you can, because they have the talent, especially defensively. Dallas has the talent to win this game, take care of business, and then you have the division within shouting distance. You have a chance to actually have some destiny in your hands as you end October, get into November, head towards U.S. Thanksgiving.
A narrow one. Cowboys are favored by 1.5. It'll be a good one. I'll try and stay awake for as long as I can out here in the Eastern time zone, as you know, Jim. That's the only thing that sucks about living in the Eastern time zone. What? You agree? You get it.
I agree, but I get the point spread, Rod, because if you look at the past weekend, the Giants put a scare in Buffalo. The 49ers thought they were just going to roll their helmets out and beat Cleveland. And on it goes. And the Eagles didn't think they were going to have the outcome against the Jets. And the coaches are trying to remind the players, remind the fans, remind the media, for whatever reason, this year more than ever, the line between winning and losing in the NFL is so razor thin right now. You can't pull a Jalen Hurts and have 3 picks and expect to win. You can't take stupid penalties late in the game and expect to win. You can't miss field goals, which are a very makeable field goal for the 49ers, and be sad that you lost the game. So for the Cowboys, as long as they play mistake-free football, there's no reason why they shouldn't win the game. But with the margins so tight this year in the NFL for winning and losing, that you can't make a lot of mistakes and be a good team and get away with it.
Yeah, I got one for you. You mentioned the Dolphins being the best team in the NFL, and I agree. Obviously, a lot of talk on the radio here about Tyreek Hill and the season he's having. I was listening to the game yesterday. If I had the numbers right, and they're close to this, 841 yards through 6 games is the most in the modern era of the National Football League for Cheetah. Do you think he has a legitimate shot of being NFL MVP, or because of his character issues, if that's a thing, would preclude him from being in that race?
I'm not sure if it's character or position, because receivers rarely win that award. But, I mean, they've got so much talent. I mean, they've got a bunch of injuries on offense, but you wouldn't know it. They were down 14 points, and you wouldn't know it. They can just flip a switch at notice and score a ton of points. And for people wondering why I would give them the edge over KC or other teams in the AFC, I've not seen KC reel off 35 points like that, like the Dolphins did yesterday at a moment's notice, where the Dolphins right now seemingly can. Tua's playing so well. They've got production in the backfield. And as you say, Tyreek Hill is, and I've thought about it since week 1. He's as close to uncoverable as a receiver as we're seeing in the NFL right now. I'm thinking back to Randy Moss in his Minnesota days. That's how good he is. So it's rare for a receiver to get a lot of votes for MVP just the way it's structured, but he's certainly in the conversation. I mean, as you said, they're putting up historic numbers in the first 5-6 weeks of the season. It's ridiculous how good Miami's been this year.
He runs 21.5 mile an hour. And to be honest, I've got Tua in the conversation. If people have a tough time putting that into perspective, get on a treadmill.
Yeah.
And go as fast as you can and see if 21.5 is ridiculous. But Tua's the one throwing him the ball, so he's in my MVP conversation. I don't think you'd agree or argue with that. Hey, what about the Patriots? Belichick. Do you think he gets stripped of the GM duties or just fired at all? Or not even fired because of a loyal owner there in Robert Kraft?
I think if they were ever going to make a serious change in New England after all these years, now he's been there over 2 decades, Ron. Okay, I don't care how good you are, eventually you run its course. And for Robert Kraft and his son, who's part of the management, and everyone involved in the management and ownership of the Patriots, they have to start thinking, wait a sec, is it time to turn the page from Bill Belichick? This is no disrespect to him. He's on the Mount Rushmore coaches in the NFL. New player personnel, new scouts, new GM, new coach, start over. Because right now their team they're putting on the field is simply not good enough. They don't have enough offensive weapons. And Bill Belichick is still trying to coach his butt off. He just doesn't have the pieces to work with. And he's the one that got the pieces. So this is the catch-22 for the Patriots is they simply cannot compete with the big boys in the NFL and the top teams. They're just not good enough, no matter how good of a coach Bill Belichick is. And all the schemes he puts together, he just doesn't have the horses to do it. Just doesn't.
But that's the tough one going into the season. I think people actually thought they were going to be more competitive in the division than they are.
Yes.
Would you agree with that or not?
Yeah, no, it's the Belichick factor, Rod. You're 100% right. Because he's given so much latitude, because who he is and what he's done, they automatically assume he's going to fix everything because he's the great Bill Belichick and he can coach his way out of any problem. But not this year. They're not good enough. They don't have enough talent. They don't have enough depth. And if you think about New England, you have to start thinking about not next year, but the next 10 years. Look at Houston and C.J. Stroud and DeMeco Ryans. Great young rookie coach, great young rookie quarterback. They're set. You start looking at teams around the league, right? Doug Pedersen and Trevor Lawrence. They have to start thinking the next 10 years. Who's going to be the next coach quarterback combo in New England for the next decade? Because they don't have it right now. Mac Jones, he's not the answer. So do they hang on to Bill Belichick and think they can get the next guy in the draft? Because are they just going to strip things away at the deadline and go for the tank and see if they can get a top pick in the draft? Or are they just going to go wholesale change and go from top to bottom and say, thanks, Bill, we'll make a statue for you, and thanks for everything, but we have to move on. Eventually, any pro sports team has got to make a change like that, as difficult as it is, and no matter how much success he's had, things do come to an end. And it seems like New England, it's coming to an end.
Fun having these conversations, isn't it? I'll fire a quick one at you before we go. Yeah. Justin Fields in Chicago, they were saying, who's the problem there? Is it Justin Fields or is it the Bears? And I'm like, well, considering there was a problem before Justin Fields showed up, I'd say it's the Bears. I feel he's kind of being unfairly maligned there. Would you agree or disagree?
Oh, I think it's the Bears. It's more the Bears than Justin Fields. Justin Fields, I think, is trying to do everything. But again, that's a franchise. Now, if you're the Bears or you're Bears fans, you're in the same division as the Lions. And you see what the Lions are doing. Management, GM, coach, players, fans, they are just rolling. And you're like, why can't we be? Now you're thinking, used to be, why can't we be like Green Bay? And now in Chicago, they're saying, why can't we be like Detroit? So, yeah, Eberflus is not the coach in Chicago. Do they have to make changes? Look, it's no shame in admitting maybe you just got the wrong people and wrong talent. Do they have to blow things up? I don't know, but it's a mess in Chicago. And I feel bad for Justin Fields on a different team. Maybe it's a different outcome. I mean, I look at what Jared Goff is doing to Detroit. Yesterday notwithstanding, a lot of different coaches and different quarterbacks move around and things get, and it changes. And it changes scenery, sometimes good. Maybe they trade Justin Fields and he has success in another team. I don't know. But right now, it's an absolute mess in Chicago. And I feel bad for the fans, especially that a team in your division, Detroit, is playing that well. And looks like they could just lock up the division by December the 1st.
You betcha. Fantastic chat as always, Jim. I appreciate you jumping on. Enjoy the hockey game tonight.
Go Leafs, go.
You betcha. Best-selling author, foremost expert of the NFL in Canada, and just an all-around great guy, Jim Lang. We'll be back with a sports update and audience takeover the rest of the way. Just me and you, whatever you'd like to talk about. Live on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
All right, we back. Thanks for being a part of Canada's favorite daytime sports talk show and becoming so in the USA. We've got breaking news. We've got audience takeover to get to. The reason I bid Moose adieu for the day was I had a lot to get to with me and you, and that'll take us right up to the top of the hour. You think 19 minutes is a long time. It ain't. Not in this business. Not with me. But a sports update right off the press. Toronto center Austin Matthews has been named the NHL's first star of the week. After he posted hat tricks in the Maple Leafs' first two games, Vancouver Canucks center Elias Pedersen took second star honors after posting a goal and 5 assists in 2 games. And Pittsburgh center Evgeny Malkin was named third star with 2 goals and 4 assists in 3 games. But, of course, what we all care about is the poll question tonight. Who's going to have more points in Toronto tonight? Austin Matthews or Connor Bedard? The next one. And you seem to be agreeing with me, or I'm agreeing with you. 70% plus saying it'll be Austin Matthews tonight. But that's what I'm going to be watching for. Fun little prop bet there. And I might add our official and exclusive betting partners, Bet Regal. We don't talk a lot of baseball here, but we do keep our eye on it. After winning the American League Championship Series opener, Texas will send Nathan Eovaldi to the mound in Game 2 this afternoon against Houston's Framber Valdez. Leody Taveras homered as the Rangers blanked the Astros 2-0 Sunday in Game 1. Meanwhile, Zach Wheeler will be on the mound when the Philadelphia Phillies open the National League Championship Series tonight against Arizona Diamondbacks ace Zach Gallen. For all the legions of new viewers, and hi, I see you, Sewells, I got your text. What they love about this show in both countries is we talk about the things that the other shows don't, and do that very well, if I may say so myself. The San Diego Chargers host the Dallas Cowboys. In the Monday Night Football matchup, the 2-2 Chargers are riding a 2-game win streak following victories over Vegas and Minnesota, while the 3-2 Cowboys are looking to bounce back after last Sunday's 42-10 drubbing by the San Francisco 49ers. Don't I know it? I want to talk a little bit about NFL fandom in a moment. But cricket is an Olympic sport again, and flag football gets in for the first time. 5 sports have been finally added to the 2028 Los Angeles Games by the IOC. That came down this morning. Baseball and softball, lacrosse and squash have also been included on the program. All 5 cleared a final hurdle today from the Olympic body's full membership, and we're working on getting our good friend Scott Hallam back on, the CEO of USA Football. Obviously, they brought us in to broadcast their national championships in Charlotte in July. That's what we were doing there, folks. As Jim Hobson would say, Rod doing Rod things. And by the way, Clark, you want to make a note of this? I'd love to get Jim Mullen on as well, the president of Football Canada, because they're part of this. This is, my buddy Chris Sanford wrote me today. You all heard me talk about Chris Sanford from the Bronx. He's like, 2028, huh? I'm like, it'll be here before you know it. We're going to have the regional tournaments, the national tournaments, then the qualifying tournaments by geographic regions. It'll be here before you know it. And we will be part of it. And I'm very excited about that. Our sports updates are brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company. They have the perfect craft beer for your enjoyment, featuring their Core 5. Good Company Hazy Pale Ale, Common Crown Crafted Lager, Journeyman IPA, Brewmaster Blonde Ale, and Coppersmith Brown Ale. 4 of those sit below 5% ABV, making them the ideal beer for your common everyday affair. What was the thing I saw on their website? The best beer is the one that's earned from Common Crown. I'm just checking in the comments. There's a backload of comments I want to get to, and I appreciate that. We're gonna do our best to stay on point, because that's what we do here. Stay on point. And from the text line, it's open 902-518-3033. Where did it go? Kirk in Toronto writes in. He says, "Hi, Rod. Whatever happened to Super Rough Riders fan, The Flame? I know it's been some time, but just wondering." It's been about 25 years or longer, bro. But long-time Canadian Football League fans will remember he's the guy that after Saskatchewan scored touchdowns, he had a hard hat, and the top of it was filled with gunpowder. And he would light it on fire, and a flame about 6 to 8 feet high would go shoot off his head. Well, his name's Sandy Monteith. He lives in Saskatoon, and he's been retired from such stunts since the incident. And I don't say that facetiously, because he had a young minor as his helper, and the kid was injured in it. And that was the incident. So Sandy's fine, but he's not allowed to do that anymore. Regarding me covering the Panthers now, and the thing is, I cover it with a fine-tooth comb and somewhat critical. That's just me. Ted in Red Deer says, "Teams don't want your real opinion, Rod, but fans like us sure do, and appreciate it. Thanks." All I'm saying is, if I'm going to be here every game now like I am, I'm going to be covering the Panthers and the Lightning with a fine-tooth comb, and I will point out where the mistakes are, and the teams don't necessarily like that, but I can't change. I'm never going to be unfair. I'm never going to be cruel. But the fans deserve as much, right? Jay in Winnipeg says, no lawn darts? Wouldn't that be something? How was that ever allowed? My older brothers and I, Clark, you're familiar with lawn darts. Did they make an appearance in your lifetime? Lawn darts? Beer darts? Oh, let's add alcohol. Even better. Darts, yeah, they're like 7 inches long. Real great idea that was. Allie in Texarkana says, I like when you squirrel, Rod. I know, right? I turned it into a career. Jeff, the Stamps fans, had some good questions and comments today. Why do I feel surprised? He says, perhaps the sport I excel at will soon be an Olympic sport. Channel surfing. That's funny, Jeff, the Stamps fan. Hey, Jeff, the Stamps fan, who's going to get into the playoffs, Calgary or Sask? That's what I'd like to know. It's sure looking like it's going to be Calgary and not Saskatchewan. John, got it right here. Whoop. He says, paddleball or pickleball? The next Olympic sport. Well, bro, pickleball's not in the Olympics this year, is it, Clark? And I'm sorry to defer to you, but Darren isn't here. Yeah, it's coming. It's trending. Right. Well, they got the Paris Olympics upcoming, and then you've got the LA Olympics 2028. So we're talking 2032, almost a decade before we even talk about pickleball going into the Olympics. Now, I'm all for it, but it's going to be a while. Yeah, now here come the comments, Jason and Red Deer from the Puck and Pigskin podcast. That's all you had to do. All we had to do was just involve you all. It's like petting a farm dog. Once you pet them, they don't go away. Trust me, I know. And he's referring to the Cats and Bolts podcast. That's Serena and my podcast on the NHL teams in Florida. He says, FYI, Rod and Serena have a great show going there. Love the bickering. LOL. Again, we've turned it into a career. Our bickering. How about that?
How about that?
Full on audience takeover when we come back. Whatever you want to talk about, we'll continue it. Live on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
I told you that we would be able to do this with no problem. Me and you, the audience, and here we go into overtime. This ain't going to be hard either. Overtime is brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. And I want to thank the Bow Valley U9 hockey team for heading in there on the weekend. They all posed around the goal in the Rod Pedersen Show lane, sent me a photo of it. Randy did from Overtime Lane. So take your team down there. Take your staff down there. Take your family down there. Birthdays, I would suggest you book now because they are filling up. Licensed restaurant in there as well. Overtime Hockey Lanes, 28th Street Northeast in beautiful Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I look forward to the day that we return. Flames at Washington tonight. That's not the game of the night. I'm sorry. For me, it's Toronto with Chicago. Sorry, Chicago at Toronto. Bedard versus Matthews. From the audience, from WQEE, Ryan O'Radio says, a great way to start the week. Atlanta's NHL and CFL show, the RP show. Thank you, Ryan. Blessed to be on your wonderful radio station, just like we're blessed to be on the Game Plus television network. A holy war has broken out, interestingly enough, between Ted in Red Deer and Jeff the Stamps fan. And the odd thing here is I'm on Jeff the Stamps fan side in this argument. Jeff started it by saying it's become very evident that Bill Belichick rode Tom Brady's coattails. And that is a debate that we could have for a long time. But I feel like Jeff played some football somewhere along the line. He knows football, I think, better than me. And Ted in Red Deer says, don't all coaches ride their players' coattails? That's from Ted and Red Deer. Those two are having a back and forth. But it's brought me into remembering some wonderful conversations I've had over the course of my life. Like I said to Wally Buono, the winningest coach of all time in Canadian Football League history, I said, Wally, what was your secret? He said, good players. But that's just Wally being humble. A good coach, I don't believe, can make a good team win a championship. Sorry, a bad coach can't make a good team win a championship. He'll get in his own way. He'll screw things up. I believe that. And I'm not totally saying it's right, but I've been with, 20 teams in the CFL, 20 years with the Pats, a couple more with the PA Raiders, and just being around teams. I think I got a bit of a handle on it. And if you're a bad coach, you're going to screw it up somewhere along the line. And the umbrage that I took here was Ted and Red Deer saying, sorry, here it is. Sorry, buddy, AHL coaches don't mix with NHL coaches. And if I've read that right, no, Ted, that's where you're wrong. These coaches are together a lot. Not during the season, but they're together in the summertime at Symposium. They're together at symposiums. They're hanging out together. It's like football here in the States. When they find out, the football people here, that I spent 20 years in the Canadian Football League, they're like, oh, cool. Come on in. You're one of us. That's how they think. Doesn't matter, NFL, college, Arena League, CFL, high school, football. If you're in the business, you're in the business. And in Canada, it's the same with hockey. Similarly with broadcasters. People have often wondered, Rod, why did you take the time to go on my show? Why did you give me the time of day? Because you're in the business. And that's the one, but that's rare. I had a guy tell me today, people like you are very rare. And I said, I get that a lot, but thank you. That's the one thing I love about the recovery business, mental health and addiction recovery. They don't care. They never did care. The big city guys, New York, Miami, Montreal, LA, addiction's addiction. Mental health's mental health. It don't matter if you're from a farm of 600 people in Saskatchewan or from a city of 6 million. It's the same in all those places. So the respect fact, why do you think I love that business far more than sports? I just do sports because it's easy. And I spend so much time in it, it's easy. And for some reason, you people keep watching. Anyways, on the 111, 11, whatever, Darren said, what are we going to do for that special day? I think we're going to bring in Kevin the Medium and do live readings. I don't know how, but I'm just putting it out there. How did we get on this? Allie in Texas says there's still some restaurants in Texas that still have smoking sections. There's casinos in Canada. Jason and Red Deer, I'm very grateful for Rod being my very first guest on my show a couple years back. See? Thank you, Jason. We'll see you. We'll do it all again tomorrow, noon Eastern, here on Key Radio and Game Plus TV.
Who has more fun than us?